Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. This is a request video. I want to thank one of my viewers, Kathy, for suggesting this. I think it's a pretty cool idea. I'm going to show you, I think there's 26 or 27 of my favorite various artist soundtrack albums. These would be soundtrack albums for movies or TV, but they're all comprised of various artists. So these are not soundtracks that are done by one artist like Bob Dylan, Pat Garrett, or these are not soundtrack album of movies that are done by like a composer or Broadway shows. I love those. And these are not compilation albums that have a theme like Southern rock or rap or something like that. These are soundtrack albums of TV or movies, mostly movies, and they're comprised of various artists. So a really cool idea, and I'm going to show you like 26 of them or so. Also want to thank David, one of my viewers. Now, David noticed that I was wearing white socks in one of my previous videos. I am not a fashionista, as you can see. I wear concert t-shirts all the time and ripped jeans, and I'm wearing an original Chuck hat that somebody got me because back in high school I used to wear Converse All-Stars when they were not cool. But because of David, my wife went out, and a friend of mine, a colleague at work, also went out, and they got me cool socks. And I got more cool socks than I know what to do with. So thank you, David. I will never wear white socks on camera again, but I'll probably still wear them in private. So thanks again. All right, without further ado, please hit subscribe if you're new to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Help my channel to grow. And please send your comments in because that's really fun. Let's start. I'm going to say it's not really alphabetical order, but it's in no particular order. This one, when I grew up, everybody had to have this. This is the soundtrack to American Graffiti. Sorry if the glare kind of sucks. 41 original hits from the soundtrack of American Graffiti. If you never saw American Graffiti, it's one of the all-time great movies. And part of the reason why is it's got one of the greatest soundtracks of all time. Now, I'm a child of the 70s. I was born in 63. But certainly most of my music is from the 70s. But this is comprised of all amazing tracks from the 50s, and it's amazing. If you have never heard American Graffiti or you don't know music from the 50s, I can guarantee you, you will love this. This is, if not the best soundtrack, it's way the hell up there. American Graffiti soundtrack. Kathy, if you never heard that, you got to hear that. This one's maybe a little bit of a stretch, but it's kind of fun. Remember the soundtrack from Animal House? I think there's a couple of different artists on this, but this is a fun soundtrack. Got some great stuff on here for sure. Nice and short. Those albums are like 30 minutes long. Great. A fairly recent one, Almost Famous, Cameron Crowe, great film director, great musicologist, wrote for Rolling Stone and Cream magazine, and he did this movie kind of based on his life, and what a great soundtrack this is. Got Led Zeppelin, which was not easy to do at that time. Now everybody wants their music on soundtracks because that's the only way to get them played. But what a great soundtrack, and of course Tiny Dancer from Elton John, one of the greatest scenes in movie history, the way that they did that on that. Fantastic. You may not know this one. This was A Walk on the Moon. A great movie, I thought. Fantastic movie. And another really good soundtrack. Look at the songs. The Youngbloods and Dusty Springfield. Jefferson Airplane Today, an amazing track. Jefferson Airplane, Embryonic Journey. Joni Mitchell, Cactus Tree. Grateful Dead, Ripple. This is a tremendous soundtrack. A Walk on the Moon. You may never have heard of that. But if you spot that for cheap somewhere, go out and get it. One of the greatest of all time is certainly The Big Chill. This is the original one. There's different versions. There's a sequel CD. There's a double, which is also great. This is really awesome. Again, and this is like a 30-minute CD, and it's perfect. And you've probably seen The Big Chill. It'll bring you right back to the movie. And if you never did, you'll love this quick, short CD, The Big Chill. This one, I don't know. Does this fit? Everybody in 1978 or 77 knew Saturday Night Fever. Of course, it's the Bee Gees, and they wrote it all. But really, the soundtrack itself, the Bee Gees are all over it, and this was like the biggest selling album of all time in its time. But you got Yvonne Elliman, you got Tavares, Kool and the Gang, KC and the Sunshine Band. So it is kind of a various artists, even though the best parts of it are the Bee Gees. I'll tell you, I've never been a huge fan of this album. The Bee Gees stuff is great, and it still sounds great. I'm not anti-disco, but I have trouble getting through this whole album from beginning to end. For me, anyway. This is going to count. Woodstock. There is a ton of different versions of Woodstock albums. I have a big box set right up there. 4 CDs, and now there's more. But this is the album that actually made Woodstock really famous because it was the movie that made Woodstock legendary. I mean, a concert, of course, but it was the movie that really brought it to the consciousness, and this soundtrack album did as well. This was a triple vinyl, and this is the 2 CD version, and it's the best version. There's other Woodstock albums that have come out since. There was a Woodstock 2, and like I said, box sets. But this is a damn near perfect album. Now, I have tons of live compilations, Camp Lucia, and the concert for 9/11 and stuff like that. But this is a movie soundtrack, and that's why it counts. The Sopranos soundtrack is a great one from the original HBO series, and they went deep. Little Steven, of course, but you got Springsteen, State Trooper, them featuring Van Morrison, Elvis Costello, deep track. A lot of really cool kind of deep songs on this. Dylan's Gotta Serve Somebody. They did a good job. The Sopranos soundtrack. And while you're in there, let's do A Bronx Tale. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, Charles Palminteri, and the soundtrack is also very, very cool. If you've never seen it, a lot of 50s stuff because that's the time frame. Wilson Pickett, The Moonglows, Flamingos, but then you throw in the Moody Blues, Nights in White Satin, Jimi Hendrix, All Along the Watchtower, James Brown, It's a Man's World. This is a really cool soundtrack, A Bronx Tale. When I was growing up, this was a great midnight movie. I have the Laserdisc of it. Heavy Metal. It was an animated movie, science fiction, really cool film, and had a really cool soundtrack. As you could see, Sammy Hagar, before he was in Van Halen, Blue Oyster Cult, Veterans of the Psychic Wars, Cheap Trick, Don Felder was a title track. A really cool one on here is Queen Bee by Grand Funk Railroad, which came from their Grand Funk Lives album. Cool soundtrack, Heavy Metal. You want to get a cool soundtrack? Man, it doesn't get wickeder than Natural Born Killers, the Oliver Stone film. This is so cool, it doesn't even show you the track listing on it. But if I open it up and check out the booklet, I'm doing this from memory, but I know Leonard Cohen was on here. That was awesome. Yeah, Waiting for the Miracle. I can't say the word, but the 4th song, Patti Smith. Then you got Sweet Jane, Lou Reed. And then it's got dialogue mixed in. A lot of really cool stuff. Plus a lot of weird noises. It's not just various artists. Maybe this one's a stretch, but it does have some various artists on it. Olive Stone's classic, Natural Born Killers. When you want to talk about cool soundtracks, all you got to do is look at Quentin Tarantino, and I got a bunch of them. Quentin Tarantino is a master of soundtracks. He mixes really cool, deep tracks, and then in addition to that, great music and deep stuff. This is Reservoir Dogs, Magic Carpet Ride, Stuck in the Middle with You, that amazing scene, Coconut, just a really cool, Hooked on a Feeling, From Dusk Till Dawn, another great soundtrack. Mexican Blackbird, ZZ Top, Stevie Ray Vaughan is all over this thing, Willie the Wimp, really cool. He's just amazing. Jackie Brown, and he does themes, so Jackie Brown, that kind of movie, what are you going to see on here? You're going to see like Bill Withers and Pam Grier, Grassroots, really cool stuff. The Delphonics, Didn't I Blow Your Mind This Time? Great stuff. for sure, from Quentin Tarantino. Did I forget Pulp Fiction? I think I did. It's downstairs. Pulp Fiction, one of the greatest soundtracks of all time. Sorry about that. That's what I was looking for. Keep going. HBO, Sons of Anarchy. They did a great soundtrack and really cool tracks. Can you see it there? You can't. This life is Curtis. He did Curtis Stiller. He did a lot of the stuff on here. A lot of covers. Like there's a great version of "Gimme Shelter" on here. I know you can't really see it. "Girl from the North Country." This is a wickedly cool soundtrack. The Sons of Anarchy. If you're a TV fan, this was my wife's. She don't have too many CDs, but you know. In the 80s, everybody had this soundtrack, Friends, because I'll Be There For You with the Rembrandts. I never listened to this, but actually there's some cool stuff on here. Paul Westerberg, REM, and the Pretenders do a really good version of Angel of the Morning, Big Yellow Taxi, a version by Joni Mitchell. This is a cool soundtrack from Friends. Maybe it's a little bit of a stretch, but James Bond, this is a cool double CD, 30th anniversary limited edition, of the best of the James Bond themes, and they're all different artists, so in a way it is various artists. You know, Shirley Bassey, Goldfinger, you know, Tom Jones, Nancy Sinatra, Shirley Bassey, but you get McCartney and Wings, Live and Let Die, Lulu, Nobody Does It Better, Carly Simon, For Your Eyes Only, Sheena Easton, and it carries on and on and on. Pretty cool, the best of James Bond. Some great stuff. When it comes to 50s music, there are so many great soundtracks. I already showed you American Graffiti. This is another one. The movie was Dinah, a great movie. And this was the soundtrack comprised of, again, 50s music because that's when it was taking place. And just great. These are great listening experiences, Kathy. If you like the 50s but you don't have any, get these soundtracks. They're great. Another great soundtrack from the 70s is That 70s Show. This is That 70s Rockin' album, and it rocks. It's like playing a radio station. You got Cheap Trick, and you got Golden Earring, and Ram Jam, Oh Black Betty, and James Gang, Funk 49, BTO, Leonard Skinner, Blue Oyster Cult, Argent, the King Celluloid, Heroes, Big Star, September Girls. This thing is a cooking soundtrack album. Let's keep going. Vanilla Sky is an interesting one. There's Tom Cruise, the music from Vanilla Sky, and interesting stuff. You got some REM, All the Right Friends, Radiohead, Paul McCartney's title track, Peter Gabriel, Deep Monkeys song. You could see Todd Rundgren, Bob Dylan, Nancy Wilson, REM. Cool soundtrack from Vanilla Sky. This was a TV series on the History Channel on Vietnam. This is a great collection of really awesome 60s classics. You could just see Jefferson Airplane, Procol Harum, Zombies, The Band, Grand Funk, Canned Heat, and it continues on. Edwin Starr, Country Joe and the Fish, Mamas and the Poppers. This is just great stuff. Vietnam Songs from the Divided House from the History Channel, 2 CD set. Let's go with this one from the 80s. Not a great movie. In fact, my favorite part of the movie was the opening animation to the song Ruthless People by Mick Jagger, a solo single. I thought that song was great. Just a lot of fun. Man, people kill Jagger because he doesn't sound anything like the Stones when he's solo. That's the point. If it was supposed to sound like the Stones, he would do it with the Stones. I like Ruthless People. It's a cool, funky track. But you also got Modern Woman from Billy Joel, a B-side from Bruce Springsteen, Stand on It, Dan Hartman, Waiting to See You. It's okay. I like the title track a lot, though. What else? 2 examples of reggae music. I'm a fan of reggae music. Most people know Bob Marley and Peter Tosh, but there's a lot of great reggae music out there. And it doesn't get much better than Jimmy Cliff, the soundtrack to The Harder They Come. Now, this is various artists. The first disc on this deluxe edition, you can see there's Jimmy Cliff and the Melodians and Desmond Decker and mostly Jimmy Cliff. But the second disc on this, you get the Israelites, Just a lot of cool stuff. Johnny Nash, Eric Donaldson, Cherry O Baby, the Stones later on covered that. This is a great, great disc, the deluxe edition of Jimmy Cliff's The Harder They Come soundtrack. Another great reggae is this vinyl collection. This is from a movie called Rockers. Good luck finding this. This is a great vinyl album. The original soundtrack to the film Rockers, and a lot of great stuff on here. Inner Circle, and Junior Marvin, Peter Tosh, Steppin' Razor, Burning Spear, Third World, Gregory Isaacs. Great stuff. Two more, I think we got. This was a great movie that's really hard to find. David Essex and a movie called Stardust. It also had Adam Faith, Keith Moon, Larry Hagman in it, and 40 original hits from the soundtrack of the film. There's The Gatefold. This was the sequel from a movie, That'll Be the Day. And you could see just a great collection. Again, Love and Spoonful, The Monkees, The Animals, The Hollies, The Bee Gees, The Righteous Brothers, Eve of Destruction, and more and more and more. The Stray Cats, by the way, are not the band The Stray Cats. That was the band in the movie. Great, great soundtrack album. Probably hard to find. Last but not least, most of you are going to notice, this was the soundtrack to the film FM. And who did this? Irving Azoff? Because everything on here is Irving Azoff. But there's The Gatefold, Linda Ronstadt and Jimmy Buffett. And this is a great soundtrack. You know, Boston More Than a Feeling, and Jimmy Buffett, Doobie Brothers, Eagles, Dan Fogelberg, Foreigner, Billy Joel, Tom Petty. And they're all major tracks. Linda Ronstadt doing Tumbling Dice, Poor Poor Fiddle for Me, Bob Seger. You know that was a hit, FM by Steely Dan. Man, this is just like a greatest hits album. FM. So there you have it. I don't know, 26, 27, and I can't believe I forgot Pulp Fiction, which is downstairs. But you probably know that one anyway. That's about it. 17 minutes in. I hope you enjoyed that. Kathy, if you don't have any of these and you see them around, go check them out because I think you'll love any of these. And please, if you're a new person watching me, please hit subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Help my channel to grow. Send some comments. If you have various artist soundtracks that you love that I didn't mention, mention them. Maybe pick them up because I like these. They're a lot of fun. Most importantly, stay safe. Stay healthy out there. And I'd appreciate it if you keep tuning in and hit subscribe. Have a great day.